Are you ready to unlock your full potential and maximize your productivity? Look no further than Productivity Smart, the ultimate audio podcast hosted by renowned productivity expert Gerald J. Leonard. In every episode, Gerald shares captivating stories, invaluable tips, and cutting-edge strategies that will transform the way you approach productivity. Whether you're looking to reduce stress, overcome overwhelm, or simply get more done in less time, Productivity Smart has got you covered. But that's not all. You'll also gain inspiration from real-life success stories of individuals who have achieved greatness through productivity. Plus, you'll learn the latest tools, techniques, and habits that will help you achieve a new level of happiness and fulfillment in your personal and professional life. So why wait? Join us every week as we delve into the exciting world of productivity and help you unleash your full potential. Get ready to take your productivity to the next level with Productivity Smarts. As a productivity expert and host of the Productivity Smarts podcast, Gerald J. Leonard has been a proud supporter of Kiva since 2011. Kiva is a non-profit organization that helps entrepreneurs in third world countries access the capital they need to start or grow their businesses. By making a small loan through Kiva, you can help these entrepreneurs achieve their dreams, support their families, and contribute to their local economies. And with a repayment rate of over 96%, your loan can be relent to another entrepreneur once it's repaid, creating a ripple effect of positive change. So if you're looking for a meaningful way to make a difference in the world, consider making a loan through Kiva. With loans as small as $25, anyone can be a microlender and help change lives. Visit kiva.org to learn more and start lending today.
Lisa Geraci Rigoni is a #1 best-selling author of her book, 17 Spatulas and the Man Who Fried an Egg. She is an owner and CDO, that is Chief Decluttering Officer, of the Organizing Mentors, and has been helping her clients reclaim their space mentally and physically since 2008. I'm really excited about having you on the show. I really love the book that you wrote, 17 Spatulas and the Man Who Fried an Egg. I thought that was a hilarious title. And I was like, okay, is that Spartan or Okay, it's spatulas. Okay, spatula and there's some egg. Okay.
What is it about?
Exactly. It really piqued my interest, but
Good.
also your title of being the Chief Decluttering Officer. And I love your website, The Organizing Mentors, because obviously Productivity Smarts, it's all about doing more, doing better. Mm-hmm. And I just thought it was a perfect match for us to get together and have a conversation. So with that being said, how'd you get started in this field of organization, and how'd you come up with that title in the book?
Oh, where do you want me to start, Gerald?
Wherever you want to start.
Okay, so I will start at the very beginning. I found out when I was 40 that I had ADD and grew up with it, didn't know I had it, just thought I was odd and I wasn't smart and I couldn't read and I couldn't understand things and my emotions would get in the way and I'd scream and throw tantrums. And I grew up in a Polish-Italian household with 3 brothers, and there was just chaos all the time.
Right.
And I didn't know how to deal with it as a child who was neurodiverse. Now that we know this is a thing, that, hey, we weren't that crazy when we were in our little growing up time. And so when I was 40, I found it out. And my first thing, I even have a story about it in the book, my doctor, because I thought I was going crazy. I had gone through 2 rounds of IVF to get pregnant with a second child, which was unsuccessful. But I think, and I've done a lot of research on this, the hormones that they pumped into me messed with my brain. They really changed my everything about my system. And it sucked in a lot of ways, but in a lot of ways it was good because I call it my superpower.
Okay.
And because I taught myself at a young age how to self-soothe.
Right.
And because I wasn't taught that as a young child, it was like, be quiet, look pretty. That was how I was raised,
Right.
Do good, look pretty, make mommy and daddy proud. And if you have a tantrum, go to your room. And like all kids, I mean, most of us still send our children to the room to figure something out, or we talk to them. But I used to go in my room after I had my little screaming moment, and would organize. And I would organize my pets, and I would talk to my pets, and I would organize my books, small to tall, or color coordinated, or alphabetized, or go in my mom's makeup drawer and organize that, or towels, or sheets, or anything that calmed me.
Yeah.
So I often say when I do speeches about this and talks is all the crap could have been still going on around me, but I changed myself. I changed my inner. I changed the chaos to calm inside of me.
Right.
And so when we moved here from Chicago, I had a personal training business. I was a fitness instructor, dealt with a lot of people who didn't know where to start, and they held on to weight, and they needed help. They didn't know. Everybody knows how to be organized. I believe that.
Okay.
It's just what works for you.
Right.
Right. And I know not everybody can do it, but everybody wants to do it. Yeah. So I would, when we came here, I didn't do a lot of personal training because I had a 6-month-old daughter, and I would be in my friends' houses for play dates, and they'd say, "Oh, my kitchen's a mess, my garage is a mess." And I'm like, let's organize, let's do something. Like,
right.
We don't have to just sit here and drink wine while the kids are playing or talk about dumb stuff, let's organize, because that was a little overwhelming for me.
Yeah.
So my comfort is to organize. And then after a while, friends would say, "Well, why don't you do this as a business? You're really good at it." No, this is just something I do for myself.
Yeah.
And it took me a while to realize that, like we were talking about mentoring, a lot of people are not good at what everyone else is good at.
Right.
And I thought, because of my limited confidence in myself at the time, well, if I could do it, anybody can do it.
Exactly.
Right. So I'm not special. And then I realized, oh, yeah, a lot of people can't do this. And so I started my business. It was Leave It to Lisa. And I started it in 2008. And it was just me, just Lisa for a while. And then I got bigger and changed the name to the Organizing Mentors when I really realized what we were doing for our clients.
Right.
Yes, we were helping them with their space, but we were really mentoring them to like confidence and, oh, I can do this. Oh, I don't have to live in chaos, whatever that meant to them.
Right.
And then COVID hit, so kind of backtracking and going forward. So I was like, I always wanted, we weren't in homes, we work with a lot of senior and, people that, under autistic umbrella or neurodiverse and have issues and depression, things like that. And like, well, I'm not going to their houses because, we didn't know. So I'm like, well, this is a good time to write my book. And so I sat down and got my headset because I can't type because I never learned how to type when I was younger. And I dictated 55,000 words in about a month. And then I went, okay, what am I going to do with these 55,000 words? And I reached out to mentors who would help me like create something and a flow to it. And it's a really good book. I'm really proud of it. The title represents what I used to say when I would introduce myself, your elevator speech.
Yes.
And I used to say, and 17 is my go-to number for, well, it's been raining for 17 days, or I had 17 margaritas, or, whatever the embellishment is.
Right.
And so I used to say, "Hi, I'm Lisa Geraci Rigoni, and I own the Organizing Mentors. We can help you with the 17 spatulas in your kitchen to a whole house move or purge or whatever." And then I met a woman who had 17 spatulas. And
you attracted it to yourself.
I think I was. And we recounted them and counted them again. I was saying, "Alice, I don't believe this." And what she taught me was to keep what feels good in your hand. And literally what feels good in your hand and what serves you. Doesn't matter if it's new and it's fancy and it's special. It's what serves you. Right. She kept the spatulas that served a purpose. Right. This one was for her, tamales or her enchiladas or her lasagna or the pasta or the whatever it was, the cake, the pancakes. She had different uses for each thing in her house or in her kitchen. Right. And And that was truly amazing, nice for me to hear, because then I say it to my clients: what serves you?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what it looks like. It doesn't matter what it looks like. And so that was the thing that, I always say it's hard to organize,
Yeah.
even from 17 spatulas in your kitchen. You think, oh, that's easy. No, it's not, because
No.
you still have to make the decisions, right? And you have to
Right.
start.
Right.
So the man who fried an egg is a gentleman, the first hoarder I worked with, who was willing to have us come.
Okay.
I draw the line, because I think my ADD and all my team who work for me, when there's too many senses, it's difficult to focus.
Right.
But if there's a person who is willing and able, then we can work with them. And he had all the senses going, like there was smells and there was chaos and there was, music playing all the time and all that. But he was willing, and I had to, focus on why I was there, and my mentoring him to help him. But I worked with him for 8 months. He had a 3-story townhouse. He slept in the basement, didn't use the kitchen at all, never went upstairs. There was a lot of trauma that happened upstairs. And he helped me through a lot of things in those 8 months, and I helped him through a lot of things. And we became like brother and sister. He just was such a great man. And after 8 months, he called me one morning and he said, Lisa, I just want you to know I fried an egg in my kitchen for the first time in 8 years. And that was huge.
Right. So the
That
17 spatulas and the man who fried an egg.
And the man who fried an egg, that's how big you can change your life. You can just change the spatulas in your kitchen, or a little movement around the house to feel good, or you can change your whole life if you get the right questions and work with the right people.
Yeah. No, I think this is so awesome because, one, my son had ADD, and one of the reasons I got into the neuroscience aspects of the things I talk about in my podcast, it started with wanting to be a good dad. And it started with wanting to understand what he was going through, because I didn't have that in my background. And when I realized that he did, I read books about your child and ADD, neuroscience. So when he would get on the floor to do his homework and everything's scattered and he's kind of humming and he's like doing this and doing something else, but he's getting his work done, I went, okay. Because now I had a better understanding of neurologically what was going on, and that he needed to do all those things so that he could focus.
Right.
Like for me, I couldn't focus in how he did things. I would have to have a neat desk, sit, okay, maybe some music going on, but not words, but just music, and I could do what I'm doing. But he had to have all this other stuff going on. But if he did that, he could focus, and he was smart.
Yep.
All right. Yep. And I think, it's commendable to you for, as you, gotten, more mature, and you've learned that, wait a minute, I have this thing, that you were willing to peel back the onion and look at it and deal with it and figure it out. Because a lot of times what hurts most of us is we don't want to look at those other parts of our lives. So we kind of cover them up and keep putting makeup on them, but we never really deal with them. And so because you were willing to get in and deal with it, it allowed you to go back and analyze your life and go, wait a minute, I've been doing this organizing thing as a way to calm me down, and it was my special place, but it's also become something that I've become an expert in, and I know how to help other people. And so now you're providing an amazing service to the world and to others. And again, I went through your book, and I love your book. I love the things that you talked about and your stories. And I think too, the idea, the way you wrote the book, because when you write from your voice, it's very personable, right?
Yeah.
And people who read
that was scary.
Yeah, I know, right? Because you're thinking, get all the grammar stuff. No, just get it out there.
Well, it's the story. I was more worried. Like my husband, he just finished reading my book, and it came out February last year.
Wow.
It took him that long. And I think I stopped pressuring him.
Right.
Because, and we talked about this. He's like, well, what if I don't like it? I'm like, you're going to love it. Don't worry about it. Don't, and if you don't, tell me, I am not afraid of criticism. Like, tell me, but I think he was afraid he would learn something he didn't know about me.
Okay.
And like my daughter, here's something that my daughter, she just admitted, right? This is something that she thought was serving her, but it wasn't serving her. We were talking about, it was over the holidays. She's 20. And we were talking about having kids again. And she said, yeah, I feel so bad about that. And I said, why, honey? And she said, well, like in your book, you said you wanted to have a baby for me and you couldn't. And you thought I wanted to have because I was bugging you all the time. When am I going to have a sibling? And she was taking that on from what she read in my book.
Oh, wow.
And it was anything but the truth. Yes, I wanted another sibling for her, but it wasn't her making me want a sibling for her.
Right.
So it was, and I think that was another thing my husband was afraid of.
Right.
Like he knew we went through not getting pregnant, 17 years ago or whenever that was. I don't think he knew the depth of what I was feeling.
Right.
With not feeling like I was woman enough, or this is what I was put on this earth for, I thought, was to have babies, like to have kids, and
Right.
I couldn't. And I didn't even know those things until I was writing it. Like
Right.
I was going through therapy myself,
Oh, yeah.
just writing these stories.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, oh my God, I'm putting this out there. Like I have friends for years that are like, I had no idea you were going through this.
Right. Well, when, I mean, there's lines and things that you have to kind of consider when you put things out there. But when you share your story, you don't realize how much of your story is going to help other people. I share my story of in 2018, I had a major bout with vertigo and I lost the ability to walk. And it happened 6 weeks before my TEDx talk. And playing music allowed me to restore my ability. And I had to go through a whole lot of different things to go through that. I can't tell you how many times I've shared that little nugget and people are like, oh my goodness, my wife is struggling with this or this was struggling. And by sharing things that I did, they're like, I never thought about that or so on. And so you never know that the reason we are going through something, it may not even be for us. It could be for others that we're going to be talking to.
Exactly.
So, yeah. 7 spatulas and a man who fried an egg. Let's talk about it. So what's the essence? What was the intent behind the book? Obviously, COVID hit. You're at home now. It's like, okay, I've definitely written books when it's like, okay, I don't have anything else to do right now, and I need to get this done. Let me go ahead and do it. And you kind of start the process and you go through it. What was that thing for you that really brought the book to life? That when you look back at it and you got it edited and you thought about it, you're like, you know what? I really am excited about this book.
Well, it started out being because I created the LITL system I used to say the LITL system of organizing. The name of my company used to be Leave It to Lisa, LITL, LITL.
Right.
So another thing I learned, my ADD, I like acronyms. So LITL is little. So when I saw that, I was like, oh, we help our clients a little. They release a little clutter. They, get a little calmer. And I was like, I have to use that somewhere. And I always tell the same story. And then when I was asked to teach, or I was training people to work for me, like, what do I do? My husband is a 6 Sigma black belt in lean manufacturing.
Okay.
And they use the 5 S's.
Yes.
I can't tell you what they are, but it's like systemize, standardize, blah, 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 whatever. So I was looking at that when he was studying, and I was like, this is kind of what I do as an organizer.
Right.
You kind of look at the system, look what's not working. How do we standardize it? And so I adapted the 5 S's for organizing. And then I thought, well, I don't want to go through that and get approval and, and all that.
Right.
So I looked at LITL, LITL, and I said, well, how can I use this as, my system? And I thought, okay, what's the first thing we do? L, let it go. What are the things you don't want? And we do this, Gerald, to make any decision in our life.
Yeah.
Any decision in your life. So here, I'll give you an example. You can go in your closet. I don't want that sweater. That's old. That's wrinkled. You take out things you don't want. Right. I do this when I do talks. Okay, so everyone saw the menu, or you had a cocktail. We're at cocktails or something. You walk in, you're like, well, I don't really feel like a beer tonight, so I'm not going to have beer. Do I want a mixed drink? Yeah, maybe I'll have do I want vodka? Do I want gin? You let go of the things you don't want.
Right.
So then it's a smaller category or smaller group of items or decisions. on what you do want. All right, do I want vodka? Yeah, I want vodka. Oh, do I want cranberry juice? And you slower and slower. And then I don't want this sweater. And maybe I'll keep this sweater.
Right.
The I is intentional. That is, you have to make an intentional decision on what you want.
Right.
It's it's a gut reflex. It's like, I want to keep that. No, it doesn't fit me anymore, but I just loved that event. I went with my husband and I'm just going to keep it. Or I want to save that because my daughter can fit into it, or I'm going to get back into that. So you make intentional decisions. Now, this is where people get caught, not necessarily with like the menu, but sometimes if you have like 5 items on the menu that you want, you have to decide what you want, but you have to make an intentional decision. The hard part is people get to that when they're decluttering or losing weight. Like I said, I was a personal trainer. People hold on to weight. They hold on to stuff. We surround ourselves to protect ourselves, to feel safe, which is complete opposite of, what happens when we encapsulate ourselves in stuff and weight. We're actually more vulnerable. So if you're making the decision, I lost my train of thought. If you're making the decision, people do this too quickly. So with their stuff, because they'll come to a picture or a piece of clothing. Oh, I don't know what to do with this. And they sit and I can't do it anymore. And they put it away. So if you go through the LITL system, LITL, let it go through the whole closet. Go through the whole cabinet. Get rid of stuff you don't want. Then you go to intentional. And the T is transform. So your space is transformed. You're transformed because you're like, I'm not going to be able to make these decisions. There's no way. I want everything in my kitchen. Or I don't know what I want for dinner. You feel better, but you've transformed. And then the last L is love it and live it. And that's okay. You've made these decisions. You've changed. Now you're living in an atmosphere. Embrace that and be confident about it. So I set out to write that. And me and my writer, friend of mine I've worked with for years, we wrote that. And then a friend of mine said, oh, I have a girlfriend a publisher who's starting a book writing group. Do you want to meet her? Sure. So I met her, talked about what I do for my clients, how we, help them on a deeper level than just their stuff. My favorite tagline that I created was, the stuff about your stuff is not about your stuff.
Yes, I saw that in your book.
About your stuff. And they said, that's your book. That's the book you have to write. And I was like, oh, but I already have my book. But I'm so glad they pushed me to do that, because that's the book that now is helping so many people. Even my daughter's boyfriend, who's 20, read my book and he said, Miss Lisa, I just have to tell you that reading your book has helped me to want to reconnect with my father. They have a very estranged relationship because he's holding on to stuff that doesn't serve him.
Right.
Holding on to those negative beliefs, or I'm not supposed to get along with you, or, just these habits. So yeah, it's pretty powerful.
That's
and that's
awesome.
The stuff people don't want to look at because it sucks sometimes.
It does. I mean,
does.
anytime you have to make those kind of changes, it's difficult. But what I love about what you did is, you've kind of gone on this journey, but you had other people with you. And, even talking to your husband and seeing that he's in the Six Sigma, and there's a process and methodology around everything that happens in Six Sigma and those areas. And then kind of looking at that going, wait a minute, I could leverage this process, but I could tweak it to be my process. Well, and now I can just really take the model of the process, not even the process, but the model, the thought process of a model, and then take my word LITL and kind of create a framework that I can now share with my clients and help them grow, change, leave the things that need to leave, have the right intentions, transform their lives, and learn how to live and love what they're doing, which is very, very powerful. And you think about it, you could actually adopt that model for many areas of people's lives, not just organization.
Oh, exactly.
There's a lot of other things that people can do around that.
I do that often, actually after COVID, I I got I got the COVID-19. I gained the 19 pounds, the COVID-19. And I was like, okay, what am I doing? Well, what can I let go of? Well, we probably shouldn't have a bottle of wine every night or
Right.
dessert every night. Yeah, you have to like look at, okay. And it's hard because you have to be honest with yourself.
Yeah.
A lot of us, I think it's a chapter in the book, the secrets we keep from ourselves.
Yeah.
No, I can keep doing this. No, I'm fine. I'm 57. No, I can still go out for dinner every night. No, you can't.
No.
If you want to change, if you want to be healthier, if you
Right.
want to just keep going, fine.
Right. Right. If you were to look a year from now with the book that you've released and the things that you're doing, what would be success? What would success look like for you?
I am working on the LITL System online course.
Okay.
Because you asked me, now I remember you asked me a while ago why I wrote the book. And it was really because I wanted people not to feel alone. Because the stories in the book, it's The Man Who Fried an Egg goes through the book, but there are stories about different clients.
Right.
And they're very relatable. I relate to every single one of them in one way or another.
Right.
It might not be the same scenario, but yes. So that's another one of the like testimonials or what people are saying. Were you in my kitchen? Because that sounds like my house, or that sounds like my family, or it's like, okay, so you're not alone. And that's what a lot of my clients feel like. They're embarrassed. When they reach out, sometimes I just get this gut feeling like, I have to say, I'm so proud of you for calling.
Yeah.
Because I know this is hard.
Yeah.
Because everybody thinks they can do it all on their own. And
right. And then they find out they can't. And then they feel embarrassed that they can't, especially if you have someone.
Or again, they're stupid, or they, I can't keep an organized house. Well, who am I?
Right. Or I'm blind to the fact that I was a hoarder, and now that somebody's coming in and telling me about all the stuff I have, I'm beginning to see what I've done to myself. And I'm embarrassed. Yeah.
And do you want to change? Okay, we don't judge. I'm so proud of you for calling me.
Right.
So that's what I really wanted. So to take it even, the book was one thing because it's getting out to people I don't even know.
Yeah.
Don't know. It's just is like, it humbles me to think someone's reading my book. I met a woman at an event the other day, and I was introduced to her, and she said, wait, did you just write a book? I said, yeah. She said, I just bought that book for my sister. I had never even met the woman before.
Oh, wow.
I'm like, I'm speechless because I'm just me. I'm just Lisa who wrote down some stories, So in a year, I want to get my little system up, $9.99 for the thing, and you get courses and come to you and blah, blah, blah. Because you can do it yourself. I really do believe, whatever organizing means to you, you can do it. I'm working on my audio version of the book. I had no time last year to do it. So, and I'm doing that in my voice. So I'm really excited about that. So I have to get through this like nasal throat thing that I'm going through now.
Gotcha.
And my big hairy goal, I want to be on the Today Show. I want to be on Good Morning America. I want to do a TED Talk. I don't know if that's going to be within a year.
Right.
Because my, life happens, and, work and managing a company and all that. But those are my big hairy goals.
Excellent. Well, here, I'll give you a tip as the productivity smarts expert.
Yes. Time block. I may need to hire you to mentor
exactly.
me.
So one of the things that I do, and I do it on a daily basis, and since I've been doing it, it's radically transformed my life. I thought I was effective and productive before, but when I started doing this exercise, it radically changed everything. And that's simply to, in the morning, whether you have one goal or 14 or 2 or 3 or 4, is to have a digital notebook or a piece of paper or a little notebook. And then every day you write out the goal as an affirmation. I'm so grateful and thankful that I'm on the Today Show, and my course is selling for $9.99, and I'm doing this and doing that. And then after you write it out, you stop and you close your eyes, not while you're driving, but you close your eyes.
Yes, I heard you talk about this. Keep going. Keep going. I need to hear it again.
You close your eyes and you see yourself in that situation. Now, here's why it
every night I do that going to bed.
Yes, and that's very powerful. And that's probably
what's his name? Godard. Oh, I have to send you the title of this book. You probably know what it is already, but
Okay.
okay.
Well, the thing that why this happens when writing it down is when you think about it, what do you say when I need to remember something? Somebody's telling you something, you go, oh, let me write that down.
Yes.
Well, why do we do that? Because unbeknownst to ourselves, our bodies, our minds, we know that if we physically write something down, we're actually moving the neurons in our brain closer together. So the space to memory and the electricity jump has less space to jump. And we're reprogramming our reticular activating system so that our brains now starts filtering out, letting go, filtering out everything else except what we have set our intention on. And we start seeing and attracting all those things into our life.
Okay. I always say I remember so much more by writing, but I thought it was because of the act of writing it.
Well, it
probably is, but
it is the act of,
but
it's the
even
act
more,
of writing,
yeah.
but it's what it's doing neurologically, because when you're writing, you're using your body. So it's, memory is not just up here. Memory is all over our body.
Yeah.
So when we're writing, we're reprogramming, we're like transforming ourselves. And so imagine if you just had that 1 or 2 or 3 big, hairy, audacious goals that you wrote down and visualized every day, thought about in the middle of the day, and then visualize it at night before you went to bed.
Right.
Pretty soon, all you start seeing in the world are the things that are going to help you achieve those goals, the possibilities. Exactly.
Okay. Oh, exactly. I love it. Okay, so I pulled up the picture. It's the power of awareness. And feeling is the secret. Have you ever heard Neville Goddard? You would love
Goddard
this.
sounds familiar.
Yeah. You should get it.
Excellent.
Yeah, Neville. Yeah, I'll send you it. It's a friend of mine who's a intuitive healer and stuff.
Yes.
This book is amazing. It's about assumption. It's assuming you've, like you said, assuming you're already doing that.
Exactly.
Or Kylego. Have you ever heard of Kylego?
I have not.
Kylego is, oh my gosh, Gerald, do you remember when I was on the Today Show and you went with me and we were standing there and we met everybody there and you act as if it's already happened.
So it's acting as if.
Act as if it's already happened. Do you remember? And then we went out to lunch to that fabulous cafe and we talked and we met all these, and you just go through it as if it's already happened. It's called Kylego.
Okay. Jack Canfield teaches that a lot. I've actually done a few exercises around that, just with some of my goals, but I did not know that the name of that.
Yeah. See,
excellent.
I'm learning a lot from you too.
Well, listen, as we get ready to wrap this up, what's some of your aha moments that you've experienced just from, talking to people and helping people with organizing?
Big ahas are, I had a teacher, I don't know, maybe it was a therapist or I learned this somewhere. When you say, I don't know, you actually don't. And you probably will know this because it stops your thoughts. You say, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what I want. I don't know what I don't want. It was a therapist, right? Like I said, or I read it somewhere. And then she said, but if you say, you ask the person, but if you did know, what would it be? It opens up your brain, opens up your eyes, your mind, and then you can say, well, and I used to use this to my daughter and I still do. And she hates it. She's like, every time she says, I don't know. I was like, what if you did? Don't, Mom, don't even say it. But I say that to my clients. I don't know what I want. I don't know what I don't, I don't know what I want. I don't know what I do want. Okay. And then you start with the little system. Well, if you did know, what's one thing you don't want in this space? That's the aha. Because once you say you don't know, you don't.
You shut the brain down.
Shut yourself down. And I do the same thing. So anything I preach to my, talk to my clients, I've done it or I'm doing it or I'm saying it again to remind myself. Okay, Lisa, you do know. You might not have the exact answer right now, but what do you think it could be? And then at least you're opening that door. And that people do feel alone and embarrassed. And a lot of people, it's a mental illness. It's something they cannot control. And the thing, even with me, with my ADD, and it's not even in the realm of hoarding or obsessive compulsive disorders, but I didn't want to tell people that I couldn't concentrate. It took me, it still does. So the book my doctor gave me when he said you have ADD, was, you mean I'm not lazy, stupid, or crazy? Yeah. And I wrote this story in the book. And when I read it, I started crying because those are the words I use to describe myself.
Right.
I'm either lazy, I can't do it. I'm so stupid. I'm crazy, I can't get it done. People think of that, themselves that way.
Yeah.
And they're not. And even the back of the book, I said, here is, what is it? Spoiler alert. All right. Spoiler alert. You're not lazy. It's not because you're lazy.
Right.
Hoarders, people that, are indecisive are not lazy.
Yeah.
They're just stuck.
They're just stuck. Yeah.
So
I can definitely see.
if we
I
can
knew
just
someone who
get
was,
you
I knew someone who was a
unstuck.
hoarder, and I could see them just being, they were very smart. In fact, they were a lawyer, but I could see them being just stuck and not knowing how to let go of things and move forward. And it just piles up on them.
Yeah.
If someone wanted to get to know you and know where they could learn more about you, where would they go?
Well, you could go to my website, theorganizingmentors.com.
Okay.
I'm also on Instagram and not on Twitter. Not a big fan of Twitter, or X, whatever it's called now. But Facebook is great. Send me a message. I do 20-minute, free consultation calls. If they mention your name, maybe send them my book or send them a LITL System, something like that. If they reach out to me.
Excellent. So for anyone who's listening, if you are a fan of productivity, the book, The 17 Spatulas and the Man Who Fried the Egg, is a must read. And I honestly will say it is a must read because it will give you some incredible stories, which I loved. It will give you insights, but it also gives you a system. And I'm really big on systems. I'm really big on proven processes and things that are scientifically, peer reviewed or just validated, and knowing that you have a system and a process that not only has helped you, but you've now codified it and put it in a framework so that you can help so many other people. Thank you for all that you do and the work that you're doing, and for discovering your purpose, because your purpose has now become a blessing to many, many others around you. And I mean that sincerely. So Lisa, thank you for being on the show. And
thank you.
I will let you know as we post the show and all the things that we're going to be doing. I look forward to hearing all the great news of the people reaching out to you.
I will. I'll keep you posted.
Excellent.
Thank you. Bye, everybody.
If you're enjoying the content and finding it valuable, we would appreciate it if you could take a moment and leave us a review. Your feedback is important to us and helps us reach a wider audience. If you leave us a 5-star review, it would mean the world to us. Not only does it help us improve the podcast, but it also helps us attract more sponsors and grow our community. Thank you again for your support and for listening to the Productivity Smarts podcast.
Thank you for tuning in to Productivity Smarts, where we help you achieve your goals and live your best life. We hope you've gained valuable insights and actionable strategies to boost your productivity and increase your happiness and fulfillment. Remember to apply what you've learned and keep striving towards your goals. And if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to our podcast for more inspiring episodes and expert advice from our host, Gerald J. Leonard. Until next time, keep pushing forward and unleashing your productivity smarts.